Wow. You should start them all
it.
like that.
Welcome to the podcast.
You guys, yes, that was me burping up coffee. Yummy. The acid is just so good. Welcome to Find the Funny with me, Lisa Alvarado, and I'm so excited about my guest today. It is the wonderfully talented, hilarious Carmen Lynch, everybody.
Hi.
Yay!
Thank you.
So excited.
Thank you for inviting me to Culver City.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Do you like
still
my
don't know
street?
where I am, but it's beautiful.
She is a New York comic. That will explain. And I saw you driving. I was
You
like,
did?
she's so New York.
Oh my God. Wait, the way I drive?
Well, you were pulling up past my, and then you were backing into the spot, and I was like, oh, that's a New York driver.
And also, I love to like parallel park because I never get to do it.
I know.
So it just feels like, let me take as much space, as much road space as I can.
Right.
And also, it's a big car. Like they didn't have a compact car, so they gave me that car, which I find, you saw it, it's kind of big.
It's a big, if you're driving an SUV in California, first of all, it's going to cost you $400 in gas money.
Oh, great.
Do you own a car in New York?
No. I used to own a car in Virginia where I grew up, but never in New York.
Yeah, why? Because it'd be so expensive to park and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know the subway system or anything in New York.
It's so easy.
I've heard, and every New York comic pretty much has a bit about the subway.
Yeah.
And that's so foreign to LA comics.
Yeah.
We drive to the corner.
Right.
Like, nobody walks or drives or.
Well, I've been here 3 days and I feel like all I've done is drive.
Oh.
And I've done maybe like a show, a podcast, a this or that,
Yeah.
but it just feels like I'm in the car all the time.
Yeah. I want to talk about your new special. I'm so I was watching it. It's so funny. Do you feel like it's your best work to date?
I mean, it's my only like special. Like I have 3 albums. I have like audio, back then you would just do something audio and then just wait for HBO to call you, which we all know that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I know.
Now everyone has a special every 3 days or every 3
true.
hours there's a new one.
Yes.
So in terms of like my hour, the jokes I wanted to pick, the ones that would never make it on late night TV, like that kind of stuff, that's that hour. But now I'm working on a new hour and they're basically just getting darker. So none of,
I love that.
Yeah, it feels good. Don't you find that it feels good to just be like, okay, I'm done with these jokes. I mean, sometimes I still do them if I need to, if there's like a special show, like I'm going to pick and choose those jokes.
Right.
But now just doing new stuff, it just feels so refreshing.
Isn't that, you guys have to watch it. It's called Queef Week and it's on Mark Norman's YouTube channel, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So do you have any of the pieces of it on your channel as well on YouTube?
My special is pinned to my channel.
Okay.
So you can pin it so it kind of looks like it's on my channel. You can just go to my YouTube, but it's coming from his channel.
Okay. Did Mark help produce it? Or
he basically was like, put it on my channel, you'll monetize, I'll give you the money. And I hadn't even done it yet. And I was like, oh, you don't even want to know what I'm doing. But I mean, I've known him long enough that he was like, just do it. And I was like, great.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love comics that support other comics when they're coming up and just like, they know how hard it is. It's the ones that basically reach back and like help the next person that they know. They've worked with us for so many years and they're like, this person is a killer. They just haven't had the exposure.
Right.
So let me help in any way that I can.
Yeah.
The fact that he's not trying to put money in his own pocket, but he's like, hey, Carmen's amazing. You got to see her special. I fully support this.
And it's funny too, because like, his fans will be like, Queef, who's this girl? To like, thank you for introducing me to Carmen. Like there's just a whole gamut of comments and I try not to read them. Yeah. But sometimes you see one and you're like, all right, this is a dude who only likes dudes versus not him, the comments.
Right.
Or someone who's like, thank you so much. Like I'll get people in the audience now who are like, I found you from following Mark. So that kind of stuff, it does help.
Yeah.
By the way, if you get assaulted, always yell fire. More people will help you. I read that somewhere. When you get assaulted, always yell fire. And then I guess when they get to you, go, just kidding. Rape.
You're exactly right that there are dudes like the Bert Kreischer fans that only like the dudes. Him and Tom Segura and like the dudes, Mark and Sam. And it's like they know that women are funny.
Yeah.
But it's like it's almost like the Andrew Dice Clay fan base. It's these dudes that want like this almost hardcore dude jokes.
They just want bros.
Yeah, they want bros.
Yeah.
It's like that. And then you have, Andrew has Eleanor Kerrigan open for him all the time.
Right.
And she's a great balance because she's like the female dude though. She's like, she will hit you really hard with those jokes. She's amazing. But I love that he does that he has a woman opener, even for his audiences, which expect a dude. And then a woman comes out and they're like, whoa, wait a minute. She can really hold her own and get these laughs from the same crowd. So I love that Mark did that. He's like, I love her. She's strong. You got to listen to her jokes. And she's a fucking great comic. It's not about being a man or a woman. It's, are you funny or not?
Right. Thank you.
That is so good. Yeah. And then you have a special coming out in Spanish as well.
The Spanish one is on my channel, and it's an hour in Spanish, and I did it about 3 weeks after taping the English one.
Awesome.
I went to Barcelona, and I actually taped it where my parents met.
Aww.
So it's kind of crazy. I didn't do that on purpose. It was one of the rooms that was recommended to me.
Oh. Wow.
And then I was like, wait a second. And then I asked my mom, and she was like, yeah, that's where we met. Because my sister and I sometimes will just go there and be like, can you believe this is where it all happened?
What?
Yeah,
what did you tape it in a bathroom? What happened? Where is it? I mean, like, this is where they met. It was at a strip club.
Yeah.
And
no, they
my
definitely
dad was
did
on the
not
pole.
have. Yeah. They definitely were not like that.
Yeah.
And, but they met at this, like, it's more than a bar. It's like a lounge.
Mm-hmm.
And I think back then it was more like a dance lounge type of thing.
Yeah.
Now it feels more like a rock venue or like more of a music venue. But yeah, I liked the room. It's not huge. Like the first one I did at the Cellar, which the Village Underground tapes about, it seats about, I think like 200 something. And this one, I think I had like 80 to 100 and it was sold out.
That's great though.
So, but I was exhausted. Like, I don't think I would ever do them back to back like that again. It was a lot.
Was it mostly your special that was in English that you mostly translated, or did you have to just write new jokes? Because I know sometimes being Latina, like some of the things don't translate, especially in another country. Like if you were doing a Spanish show here in America,
would be different.
It would be different than actually doing it in a Latin country.
Absolutely. And also, I think about 70 to 75% are the same jokes. The other jokes either didn't translate, or they were too subtle, or they were too sarcastic, or it just didn't work. And then the jokes that I did on late nights, I didn't want to put those in my English special because they're already on YouTube.
Right.
But I wanted to do them in Spanish.
Oh, perfect.
So I put those in the Spanish one. Yeah. And like you said, like most of the shows I do are either in Spain or in New York, but the New York ones are Latino-based audiences. Right. So some of the words I was like, I can't use this because Spanish people in Spain won't know what that means. So it felt like I was studying for an exam because I was like, wait, how do you guys say this? Yeah. And at the very end of the Spanish one, I have some just B-roll of me walking down the street saying the line over and over, like, you know how you would do like X plus Y equals Z or whatever the math thing was. Right. And so I was doing it like, okay, say it like this. And then I would say the line over and over again.
Wow.
Just to remember, because I'm not going to say that line in New York if I do it, or Miami.
And so even the accent when you say it in Spanish has to probably be as slightly different in New York than it would be when you're going to Spain and you're taping there, or even in Mexico.
Yes.
You're not going to want to talk you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how do you manage that?
That's a really interesting, I should try and change it because there is kind of a lisp in Spain.
Right.
And I do use that in New York. Just to be myself, just to tell the joke and see what happens. But every once in a while it will come out without that. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm becoming Latina. Like,
congratulations.
It's disappearing, you know? And I love when people are like, all my Latinos over here. And I'm like, me too? Oh my God, thank you. You know, because there's never anyone from Spain doing Spanish comedy in New York, you know?
Same.
Even in the audiences, I'm like, who's from Spain? And it's always crickets.
Yes.
Or one girl going just like, aquí. You know, and then I'm like, where are my Colombians? Woo! My Venezuelans. Ah!
Yeah.
And there's like no one. And then they look at you sometimes they look at you kind of like, you know, fuck you, because they don't like Spanish people because of the history of
Right.
So I'm just like, well, it wasn't me, you know?
Right.
I'm nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a nice person.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because the same thing happens to me, especially here in California, because it's predominantly Mexican Latinos.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, where's my Peruvians? Crickets.
Yes.
There's never. So when me
Yes.
and you are doing a show, we're the only ones in the room of that Latin descent. It's so
I know.
funny. And then there's like a little bit of like hierarchy with Latinos.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, especially, I think the most arrogant, and I probably don't have Argentinian fans, are Argentinian people.
Yes.
I find in the Latin community, and even with the way that they speak is just slightly different with the voz, where it's almost more French. A little bit of mixed with French and European. They use a couple words like that are different. And when you go there and you try to talk Spanish and you're not doing it, immediately they have this attitude like, you're not real life.
You're not one of us.
Yeah. No lomo for you.
A mi madre le pregunté de joven a quién quería más, a mí o a mi hermana. Quería saberlo. Y se lo pregunté y siempre decía, bueno, si yo tuviera una pistola, ¿qué? Si yo tuviera una pistola y alguien me dijera, tienes que matar a una de tus hijas ahora mismo, no sé a cuál de las dos mataría. Pero si esto es lo mismo que decir que nos quieres igual, no tienes que poner una pistola en tu historia. Tenía mucho miedo. Cada vez que le preguntaba esto, tenía mucho miedo por mi vida. ¿Sabes qué feliz estaba cuando por fin mató a mi hermana?
So where can they find that? Special would be on
The Spanish one is on my channel,
which is
it's just it's YouTube/Carmen Lynch.
okay,
or whatever.
just Carmen Lynch.
Yeah,
okay, because
I'm
Lisa Alvarado comedian because there's a million Lisa Alvarados.
Really?
So, yeah.
Oh.
There's Alvarado is such a common. It's like Hernandez.
Oh my god.
So yeah, there's just a million of us out there. So
just if you look for Queef Week, you'll find everything.
yes, look for Queef Week, and I will be coming out with Queef Month. How did you come up with that title? I love it.
It's part of a joke because I talk about how it's a long joke, but basically I queefed twice in 1 week. So I was like, what is this, Queef Week? And then it just clicked. I was like, Queef Week. So
I love it. She was twice in a week. Was your boyfriend so impressed?
Well, the funny thing too is like when I've done conservative podcasts or conservative interviews, and they'll be like, can we just and one guy was great because he was like, he couldn't say it. He was like,
that's so funny.
Can I go, you're trying to say that you can't say Queef Week. It's fine. You don't have to say, he goes, I love it, but I don't know if they'll accept that, you know, and I'm like, just say I have a special on YouTube. They'll find it.
Yes,
okay.
Exactly.
But it's hilarious. And then I just did one in Spain, like on Zoom or whatever. And they don't know what Queef is.
They don't know what Queef is.
So, but on the TV screen in giant letters, it said "Watch Queef Week" on the TV, and I'm like, if you only knew what you were saying.
Yes.
It was great.
Is there a translation in Spanish for Queef?
No,
There's
no,
not?
no. It's
There's
vaginal
not-
fart, basically.
There's not.
Yeah.
There's not blowing
Yeah.
chunks. There's
No.
not.
No.
Oh, they just need to do like a little act out, like a little cartoon of a whoop. You know,
Like they know what it is, but there isn't. And that's another
Right.
thing about translating jokes. I'll be like, well, how do you guys say, and I'll ask my sister a lot of the time because she lives out there.
Right.
And I'll be like, how do you say blah, blah? And it's like a quick word or like 2 words. And she's like, it's a long sentence.
Yeah.
The house behind the hill around the corner. I'm like, no, that's not going to work. That's too long for
Right,
stand-up.
right.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, that's how we say it. And I'm like, then I'm not putting this joke in.
Yeah.
Like it's frustrating.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And people don't understand how we have to keep the setup as short as possible to get to the punchline, because people are drinking, they're tired after work, and you have to keep their attention.
Or just the timing of the joke.
Yeah,
you know, this is not story hour.
Right, exactly. You know? This is not a monologue.
Right.
This is literally, you know, how many laughs per minute you're getting.
Yeah.
So are you now starting to retire some of that material and going into like a new phase of writing and creating another hour?
I mean, there's certain jokes I still love doing because as you know, like if you look at your hour up until the minute you record it, you always come up with like a new tag or something. Know. And then you're like, God, I'm never going to do this. I just came up with it. It's so funny.
Yes.
So sometimes I'll like use that joke. I'm like, I don't care. Especially if it's a small crowd in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, they don't know what Queef Week is.
Yeah.
I'm putting it in there.
Exactly.
You know? But in terms of there's certain jokes that I've completely forgotten the joke. Like I feel I feel like a space like separated from those jokes because I wouldn't even know how to do that joke anymore.
Right.
I don't know if that's just because I've always been kind of forgetful or I just have new data in my head now.
Yeah.
Like new information. And I'm like, what third nipple? I don't know that joke anymore. You know?
I love that joke, by the way. That's
like,
so funny. I know women that have, I thought I did for a minute, but no, but it's common.
It's very common.
It's super common, and people don't eat. Who did I know that I remember her being really uncomfortable of us just going to the beach and her wearing a bikini. She was like, I gotta really like have this high collar.
Yeah.
And like inserts. I'm like, why?
But no one's even going to notice. They're going to think it's a mole. Like, I didn't know what mine was.
Exactly. You want to show it? I'm kidding. No. You guys got to cost extra.
I'll get guys in the audience like, show it to us.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
oh my gosh.
It's going to look like just like skin cancer. You know what I mean? It's just,
it doesn't look
like
you on.
Yeah, it doesn't
it
look
doesn't
like
have
an actual
girth, you guys.
Yeah.
It's just a little mosquito bite. It's not like
right.
It's not like a full on. It's not like you're gonna. It's not like your boyfriend's gonna be like, where do I? Oh, I need all three. I need 3 hands. Oh my gosh, this is amazing.
I saw this girl on the subway once, and she had this like perfect looking nipple on her hand.
Wow. Really?
This was years ago. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't know you could get a third nipple on your hand. And I'm like, I looked at my boyfriend and I was like, look at her nipple. It's on her hand. And then when I got mine, she was like, no, it has to be in your like mammary glands thing.
Oh,
and I'm like, so now she's got this thing that looks like a nipple and she can't even say it's a nipple? That sucks.
That is so, that's the, and like the boyfriend's like, hi. He's like sucking on her hand.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, it's just a birthmark that looks like a nipple. Like, take it off. Yeah.
Gosh, that is awesome. Yeah, of course guys would be like, yeah, I want to see that. I want to like show us. Well, when you have 3 balls, do we like say whip out the, no, we don't want to see it.
No, that's the last thing we want to see.
Oh yeah. I love that you're so vulnerable on stage with that stuff. That's so, that's the stuff that's endearing that people go, oh my gosh, I thought I was the only one with this thing.
Yeah.
And
well, don't you also feel like whenever there's something weird about you, even if it's negative, you're like, that's going in the notebook.
Yeah.
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 I'm starting to work on this bit about OCD. And my dad has it really bad, and he's a hoarder and he has all of these things, and you're like, oh man, I'm so glad I'm not like that.
Yes.
And then I look around my house and I'm like, holy shit, I'm kind of like that. Like I'm OCD about like how I clean and how I write. Like, look at this. I mean,
I love that. But is that just OCD or is that just responsible?
I don't know. I like to be prepared, but if you watch anything that I do, I always have notes.
Yeah.
Because one, my memory is really bad.
Same.
And if I don't have like a set list or something with me and it's a new joke, it's not happening.
No.
Or if I start it, I don't know where I'm like, what? Oh, I go
But
here.
Don't you think that's more ADHD? Because I'm going through an ADHD
Oh, maybe.
phase
Maybe.
right now, and I'm convinced. I took the test. They're like these online screeners,
Right.
and I'm totally because I want to try some kind of medication just to see if I get more done during the day. Because I same thing. I have to write things down.
Yeah.
If not, I'll like veer into Never Never Land and do something
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
And I could be a lot lot more productive. I know I could.
Yeah. If you could,
If my brain could just process calm,
Yes.
I need to try that. I need drugs.
That's
Okay.
it. Do you have trouble sleeping?
I do have trouble.
A lot of creative people, tons of comics I know have insomnia.
I don't have trouble falling asleep. I just get up really early and then it's too hard to fall asleep. So, for example, like I have to work out. Like I know it's good for you, but it just calms the brain more than anything. I just need, like I went swimming this morning at 7:30 because I'm up. I'm not choosing to be up.
Yeah.
But I'm also a light sleeper. So if I hear one tiny bird chirping or anything and I can't fall asleep, I'm like, just go, just leave, just go running or go swimming or something.
Yeah. I have struggled with sleep pretty much my whole life. And weirdly, it's in my family too. Like my mom struggles
My
with
dad
it.
struggles.
My son struggles with it. And but the guys don't have it. My brothers, they can pretty much sleep in, in a flight or think places where I can't normally sleep.
What do you think that is? Because my boyfriend will sleep through anything.
Yeah.
And I will just like hear one little thing and wake up and it makes me so angry.
Yeah.
And then I can't sleep because I'm angry or I can't sleep because I'm whatever.
Yeah.
And it drives me crazy. What is that?
Yeah. I don't know if women, I think that it might be like an instinctual thing for women where if we're going to have children or we're caretakers. So it's like immediately you hear things. It's like you were more alert.
Yeah.
Once I had my son at such an early age, I would hear a creak like 2 houses down. I'm like, is that him?
Yeah.
Was it like you just constantly have this, like I have to be aware and somewhat awake at all times.
Yeah.
Baby monitors, things like that. I feel like, especially as a single parent, you just have this, I got to take care. So even though you don't have children, you could still have that instinctual, I got to be on alert.
Yeah.
I have to caretake for people.
It could be, I think it could also be, I think as you get older in general, we sleep less.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. But also,
that's what I heard.
That's what I heard.
That's what I'm hearing from all the old people
from all the old
complaining.
people. Like, no, but I read that in an article. Like when you're like in high school, you can sleep 10 to 12 hours.
Yeah.
When you're
Yeah.
And now I'm like down to like 6.5, which is so infuriating to me because sometimes I'll wake up at 5 and I'm like, fuck this. Like, I'm just like, this is it. And then it'll be 8 and I'm like, oh my God, I fell asleep. That's crazy. What did I do? I don't know what I did.
Yeah.
It just happened.
Right.
But I thought I was so awake that it wasn't going to happen. And it happened. And then other days I'm like, I already know. I might as well just get up and make myself useful.
Okay. So when you're waking up, are you waking up because you have to pee?
A lot of times I am.
Yes. Oh, I hate that stage of life.
Yes.
You know you're getting older, that you've hit the second stage of life because you have to get up to pee during the middle of the night. I used to be able to, I remember the younger days, you could drink all night, whatever,
and then
go
not
to
get
sleep.
up till noon.
Yeah, not wake up until noon and then you peed for 5 minutes when you got up. It was like a horse, just like into
but
the
even
water.
now, like I've learned my lesson. Don't have tea at night. Don't drink it. And I still have to pee in the morning.
Yeah.
And then the next generation, my dad, I'll be like, how did you sleep? And he's like, I peed every 2 hours. And I'm like, please, Lord, don't let that be me. Please.
Yes. And it's happening. It sucks. I'm going through that now and I'm just starting like these hot flashes. Like I just had one earlier and it happens every time I have coffee.
Oh.
And I still freaking drink coffee.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, just get ready for it. Just open a window.
Yeah.
Because I need the caffeine to like get me going in the morning. But then it's the sweats just come on. I mean, you could probably see it now. I'm a little
No, you're not sweaty at all.
Oh my gosh.
See, I don't exactly know what they are yet, but I have had hot flashes. I'm not sweating. You have to sweat for them, or does it? Okay.
It's just you feel
like hot.
Yeah, and it comes on really quick.
Yes.
And then it just goes away as quickly as it came on, but it's really intense. I describe it as like when you're sitting in the car and someone turns on your heat on the seat
Yeah.
and you don't know that it's on, then all
Yeah.
of a sudden you're like, I'm burning.
Yes.
What is going on?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
no one
yeah.
else is feeling it. Just you. You're the
Yeah.
crazy one. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's gone.
See, I wonder if I'm going to notice it because I've always had anxiety and I've
Yeah.
always sweated. So I'm like, I'm going to be like, is this a hot flash or am I just having a moment? You know?
Do you take anything for it?
I take Zoloft 50 milligrams and it helps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
For
but
hot flashes?
for panic
anxiety.
attacks.
Oh, okay.
For panic attacks.
Oh, I was gonna say.
And then I stopped it for like a couple months. And I was like, oh, I'm fine.
Okay.
And then I had another one and I was like, I'm going back. I can't handle this
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
How often would you get them if you were
shit.
getting
It
panic?
depends on like, it's one of those things that I would have to study and be like, why am I having one right now? Oh, I feel claustrophobic. Usually it's a claustrophobic thing. And it doesn't have to be like I'm in a cave. It could be like I'm in a crowded restaurant. Or I remember I'd get them on first dates when I thought the guy was staring at me too much. And I'd be like, he'd be like, so how? And I was like, menu, stop looking at me. This feels too
close,
much
yeah.
too soon.
Yeah. Wow.
You know?
You're like,
So
you can
it'd be-
have sex, just don't look at me.
Don't-
Don't make eye contact.
Put a mask on.
Look
Yeah.
in that direction.
Yeah, but it's seriously like if we were going for a walk, it wouldn't happen because he's not like you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So it's weird what it would trigger.
Yes.
But like one time I had it on a podcast because it was
Right.
like a very like corner kind of like they were like sit in the corner and we're gonna be right there, and I was like, ugh, you know,
Yeah.
it was too much.
Yeah.
So
oh my goodness.
so I was just like I can't. I got to sit over here or whatever.
So does that translate to your stand up where when you're up there, you don't necessarily like, I like to make eye contact with
Yeah.
people because I feel like it draws them in. But there's
Yes.
some comics that like the room completely
No,
dark.
yes, I don't like the completely dark. I like being able to see them.
Me
It's
too.
not so much that it's weird too because that doesn't feel personal because there's a lot of them and one of me.
Yeah.
It would be more like if the room was small.
Yeah.
Like if I'm doing
Yeah.
a room that's this big and there's 35 people in it, imagine, and I'm in the corner and they're like right there.
Yeah.
That would be like, ugh.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But if the room had 10 people and they were all sitting like back here,
You're
then
fine.
I'd be fine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was like, it's almost like just get out of my face, like personal space.
Yeah.
But then once I know that person, once all that just goes away, it's all in my head.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all initial stuff that goes away. It's really weird.
Do you, this is personal, you don't have to answer this, but answer it. So for sleeping, I'm not like a drug user, but I've started using like CBD or THC,
Yes.
like just indica,
Yeah.
like a gummy to just calm me down.
Do you find that it works?
It really does.
See, okay, so I've tried THC and I did sleep well, but now I'm doing magnesium.
Yes.
Right?
I just learned about magnesium.
And
Yeah.
it works really well.
Yeah.
Yes, here's the thing. I'm a get up early person, so the magnesium will make me sleep hard and amazing,
Really?
but I'll still get up early. But the sleep itself
Sleep is
feels
better. Deeper.
like deeper. But I want it to I want it to be longer, but
Okay.
it's not necessarily longer. But sometimes I'll wake up anxious, like
Yeah.
it'll be like, what's going on? And then the thoughts start running,
Yeah.
and the magnesium just makes me wake up without the crazy
You're kidding.
yeah.
Oh my
And
gosh.
magnesium is really good for you.
Okay, and it's legal.
In a lot of people.
In most states.
It's legal and it's
legal.
pretty cheap.
Yeah.
And whatever you
to
don't
make sure.
have, you'll just pee it out. It doesn't
Yeah.
collect like, I don't know what the word is. It's not soluble or I don't know, but you can pee it
Yeah.
out if you have too much.
Right.
And then sometimes I'll do the melatonin.
Okay.
Oh, that.
But usually I just do a little bit of magnesium. And then I don't do it every night. But I'll do like ashwagandha sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that works too.
And that's what? In a
Is that an
pill form?
herb?
It's a mushroom.
It's a mushroom.
Mushroom.
It's a
Yes.
mushroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But it's not like shrooms. Like you can
Yeah,
just,
it's not
yeah.
like.
I was like, oh, did you
Yeah.
go to another universe?
Oh.
What's that thing
Yes.
what's that thing that people do? Where
Ayahuasca?
they go to Peru? Yes.
Oh, I just did that.
yeah. How was it?
Yeah, it was amazing. I went to Peru.
You're kidding. And
No.
you did it in my homeland. Okay,
Yes.
perfect. So
where are you from?
Well, my parents are from Lima. They both were born there.
Okay, yeah, I went to Lima, but then you go to Iquitos.
Yeah.
And then you take a small boat and a bus ride to go to the
I
Amazon.
didn't know you did this.
Oh my God, I just did it like 6 months ago.
Okay, so tell me all about it. I need to hear.
It's a lot to tell,
Yeah.
but basically like you're in the middle of the jungle. With like 10 people
and
just drinking it.
okay, so did you get the sickness? Because don't you throw up a lot?
You throw up, but you're purging. Like you have to purge. So you're either shitting or puking or crying or. But it's it's great. I would do it again in a second.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you discover, because a lot of people like discover childhood traumas
Yes.
or let things go.
Yes.
What?
I mean, I can't share the details, but it's good.
Yeah.
It's like homework that you can take into therapy.
Oh.
It's good stuff. I mean, it's hard. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone.
Right.
Like looking back, I was like, some of those nights were from hell, literally.
Yeah.
But it's good. I believe in it. And you have to go to a very good place. You have to go to a trustworthy place. Like,
I was going to say, yeah, you use the
you have to do
professional
research,
kind,
like go
Right.
somewhere that you know someone has gone.
Right.
Yeah.
And part of the journey is going to the Amazon. Like I didn't want to do it in a basement in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
wanted to
Right,
experience, like we're literally in the middle of these trees.
Yeah.
There's a storm. I'm in a, special, I forget what it's called, Maloka.
Yeah.
Like everything's there and
Wow.
everybody who's there wants to go there because it's taken so long to get there. Like there were 5 people from Australia and it took them like 4 days to get there, but that's how badly they wanted to do the legit ayahuasca. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So
That is, it's in Peru, and it's just like being Peruvian and never going to Machu Picchu, but it's like,
and I still have to go to Machu Picchu.
you haven't gone, so
No.
you went there to do the drugs and then didn't go to Machu Picchu.
Well, because I wanted to go
Yeah.
to Machu Picchu and I wanted to
Yeah.
go to Cusco.
Yeah.
And they were like, you
cool.
need time.
Yes. True.
And I had like kind of an exact window of time that I could fit this in.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm not rushing that stuff. Like I
Yeah.
want to go to Cusco and Machu Picchu or whatever. I want to take my time.
Right. It's an experience.
So,
you got to do it for
yeah.
a few days.
So
I think the people that go
going.
for a day
Yeah.
don't get the full experience. When you got to go for like 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just to acclimate, it's going to take you at least a day or two. And Cusco's so high elevation that
Yeah.
when I go, I get massive headaches.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like shit for like 2 days, and then I feel better. And then you go down a couple thousand miles, and that's Machu Picchu is actually below Cusco.
Wow.
Yeah, so-
you mean a couple thousand meters? You said
is it-
miles.
Miles.
I was
yeah.
like, damn.
No, thousands of
Meters,
yes,
right?
yes. Well, let's say meters. So, all right, that's on the list. So we will go to Machu Picchu together.
yeah,
I know,
let's
because
do
we
it.
are doing a Armed Forces Entertainment tour where
Yes.
we are going to Saudi Arabia. We're going to Qatar, Kuwait, UAE, and that's the base I think that has actually the most security on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but it's great. The fact that we're going in summertime, it's
It's
going to
gonna
be
be so
like
hot.
150 degrees there. I mean, it's going to be so hot, but it's just going to be so fun.
I went to Kuwait the first time I went to Kuwait, and I'm not bragging. The first time, but like I find that a lot of these military tours start off in Kuwait. So
Yeah.
I've been there twice to go to different places.
Ah.
And the first time I went, it was I think it was like 127 degrees.
Yeah.
But it was so dry. It felt so good. Like it wasn't annoying.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Vegas. You're just like, okay, I'm done. But
Yeah.
it felt like you walked into a sauna
Yeah.
and you just like cleanse yourself.
Yeah.
And then you're ready to go indoors again.
Yeah. How was it being a woman there? Like, did you feel like you needed to cover up at all?
Well, we only stayed on the base.
Only stay at on the
So
bases.
like Qatar, I did feel like I needed to cover up a little bit.
Yeah.
Dubai, I didn't because that one was not a military tour, but that one, like you'll see women covered up and
Yeah.
then you'll see a woman in a thong on the beach.
Oh, wow.
Right.
So I felt like the range was like, God, I could wear anything here.
Right. Depending on where you are in town in Dubai, I felt like.
Yeah.
Because when I did comedy there in the touristy,
Yeah.
cool, like
Yeah.
big hotel areas, you could wear whatever you wanted. And they have a ton of Europeans there and Americans because it's just so affluent. And so many businesses are based out of there now too.
Yeah.
But when you go further out of the city, I felt like I needed to be a little more respectful of their culture.
Yeah.
And did you do getting on a camel?
We did
tours.
Yes. I mean, the camel I did in another place, but in Dubai I did the sand dune Jeep thing.
That's
did
cool.
You do that?
Yeah, I did that. Oh my gosh.
And I was like,
you felt like you were going to die,
right? But it was amazing.
Oh
yeah.
my,
I loved that.
They try to scare the shit out of you on those tours.
Yeah.
They actually, our guy in the car was telling us how they place bets on who is going to make their person puke in the car.
No.
I'm not even kidding.
Yeah,
They literally place bets because they go up these dunes in SUVs.
Yeah.
But it's super dangerous because people actually the cars do
flip.
tip over.
Yeah.
And they're like, woohoo,
And I don't think we wore helmets.
No.
Right?
No, we're just seatbelt.
Yeah.
And there, did your driver crank music in there?
I can't even remember. I was so nervous that we were going to die.
Yeah,
but
like
I
was
loved
in the
it.
front seat and I was grabbing on, and he's like cranking the music. He's like, woo! And and he's like, look. And people were pulled over and their passengers were puking. And he's like, I won. He was like so excited. He's like, I won. Or like, that guy won. And because he was the first to have those people get sick.
I guess we just can't eat a lot before.
Yeah. But no one tells you that.
But then do you ever like turn and you're like, we're not going to tip over. And then you like try to be heavier, but you know, it can't, you're not going to make a difference, but you're like, and it's like, come on.
Oh man. Yeah. That was so fun.
I remember the breakfasts in Dubai were so amazing. They were these huge buffets. Now, but this one again wasn't a military
tour. Yeah.
But I've had military tours where you eat in the dining hall, which of course is great. I love eating with the people who, you know, who serve our country, but also sometimes they'd send us to like this amazing hotel.
Yeah.
And you're like, what is this palace?
Right.
It's sick.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And really we do it just to serve, but then it's amazing that we get to go to these other countries. And I feel like when you're doing these tours, the soldiers are so thankful. And they're the
so grateful.
Best audiences because they're like, yay, some dick jokes from home. You know,
Right.
like I get to feel like I'm normal again.
Yeah.
And like this is the humor that I would listen to as opposed to where they're living on a base. It's just they don't get that sort of, they can't just go to a comedy club.
No, I know.
You know, so when the military brings these tours to them, I think they're just so excited. And
I'm super excited because we've never, besides San Antonio, was it San Antonio?
San Antonio, yeah.
We've never traveled together.
Yeah, I know. That's true. And you're going to fly out to LA. We get to fly on this, 18-hour flight together?
Yeah. So if we die, we'll die together.
Yes, exactly. We'll do the last podcast from the airport. And Brian Kiley, who is an amazing comic, and Patrick Keane, who is hysterical. So it's us four doing this military tour, and I will be adding a bunch of clips from us in these other countries, sweating our asses off, and writing new material and just hanging on tour.
Now, do you think they'll have like when you go on these tours, they'll have like special like field trips for us?
I hope so.
Those are always so fun.
Yeah, it's with sometimes the soldiers from the base, they will actually take you to parts of the city that you wouldn't normally be able to get into or see.
Cool.
Yeah.
And have you ever been like in one of their choppers or like
I did a
driven
Black
a tank
Hawk tour, with Alonzo, which was so he's such a like big guy.
Yeah.
And we did one together. And then I went to Africa 2 years ago and they took us right into the heart of the city.
Oh, that's awesome.
And like we saw these markets on the side of the streets and with like masks and it's like, of course I want to buy something legit. You know, I don't want people to think I bought this down in Tribeca on the sidewalk. Like this is a legit mask that I got in Africa, you know? So it just feels good to do that stuff. Yeah.
That's the stuff that we get to see and experience. I mean, that alone, besides if you can make a living at this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's we don't factor that into our pay. but we do get to see the world.
I know that to me is such a big like benefit.
Right.
Like it's huge.
Right. Everybody's like, I want to be on TV. I'm like, I want to see Dubai.
Yeah.
And get paid to tell jokes there.
Yeah.
Like and meet people from all over the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the fact that we're even going to Saudi Arabia, like when would we ever go there?
Would I just book a trip there?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'd be like, Lisa, please don't go to Saudi Arabia by yourself.
I know. And then have you ever had, this happens too on the tours a lot, that usually the soldiers are so young.
Yes.
And a lot of them are married already at like the age of 20 or 22.
It's crazy.
They're all, and I don't blame them because it's like you meet someone there and that's your life. Yeah, I get that you want to have a otherwise it must be so lonely.
I know.
But sometimes the guys there will like hit on you like, oh, an American, a woman, oh my gosh.
Yes.
And I'm like, you're 12.
Yeah.
Thank you for defending the country. But
also you can tell based on the material you do. Like sometimes I'm like doing jokes. I'm like, oh wait, these guys aren't going to get this. They're 21.
Right.
You know, let me just bring my jokes down to a level where like everyone will understand. That's why sometimes these military tours where they're like, we're bringing the generals and the captains. And I'm like, okay, this is great.
Yeah.
Now I can do like a wider range of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's kind of wild because some bases are really loose with the material you can do. And some are really strict. Like you can't swear and you can't talk about certain things.
Or like politics was a big one.
Definitely.
They're like, don't talk about politics.
Yeah. You do
another one. I did one where they were like, don't talk about drugs because a lot of times they'll go back and it's so hard for them to go back home and they'll have, like just so much PTSD and all that stuff.
Oh, wow.
Right.
And then sometimes I feel bad talking about family because they miss their family, but they were like, no, talk about your family.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel so bad because some of them haven't seen their family, but usually for me, it was usually politics or drugs that we weren't allowed to talk about.
Right. Exactly. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We just had Carmen Lynch, and guess what? We are going to have her again in 2 weeks. So tune in for that. And we're going on tour, so you will be seeing some clips from our tour. We're going to be entertaining the troops, having fun. Love you guys. See you next time.